Oheneben Sports 84. Joe Smith Jr. is feeling that he's not getting enough credit. He's not getting the credit he deserves for knocking out Bernard Hopkins in his last fight. Joe Smith Jr. has been under the radar for a long time. He's really has some marquee wins in his career. The last time I saw this guy was when he knocked out Bernard Hopkins out of the ring. But prior to that, he had also knocked out Fonfora, which was an upset because Fonfora was heavily favored in that fight, and Joe Smith Jr. put the upset on him, and he followed that up with another impressive win against Bernard Hopkins. Even though Hopkins was an old man by then, he still wasn't knocked out in his entire career. And Joe Smith Jr. was the first person to do that, so he deserves a lot of credit. But since that victory, I've hardly heard of Joe Smith Jr. anywhere, and there don't seem to be a lot of people willing to fight him. I just read an article that he has a fight coming up with Sullivan Barrera, which is looking like an interesting matchup because Barrera is also a solid fighter. His only loss was to Andre Ward, so there's no shame in that. But Barrera is looking suspect because I think he got into a war of a fight in his last fight against he was dropped in his last fight against a certain fighter. I seem to have forgotten. So Sullivan Barrera is not looking that good out here. But it's still looking to be an interesting and intriguing fight. I think he was dropped in his last two fights against Shabransky. I think Shabransky knocked him down and he came back to knock him out. So that was what happened. He was knocked down in the fight. So that is making him look not that solid. But he's still a solid fighter, very strong, and has a knockout punch. So that's Joe Smith Jr. So it's going to be a hell of a fight. But I also side with Joe Smith Jr. because I don't think he's getting the credit that he deserves. People are not really talking that much about him after all that he's done. He's a relatively unknown guy who came into the scene and scoring some spectacular knockouts. But still, there was not much waves being made about him. People are not really talking much about him. I've always wondered why that was the case. But he's looking to get his career back on track with a victory against Sullivan Barrera. And I'm tempted to pick him for this fight because I think he looks the more solid of the two. Let's get into a few of his statements before I end this video. I believe he respects me. I think Smith Jr. was referring to a meeting he had with Hopkins after he knocked him out. I feel he didn't want to say it out loud when it first happened. It was a shock to him, I believe. He had no doubt in his mind that he was going to win. I knew that was going to happen. That I stopped him. People were going to say he was old, Smith said. But I'm glad I stopped him and I didn't go 12 rounds with him. Because then people will be saying, oh, he went 12 rounds with an old man. That would have been even worse. I definitely don't think I'm getting the credit I deserve. But there's a lot of people that are giving me the credit. Either way, it's fine. I'm just going to continue my career and continue to prove people wrong. So that was what Joe Smith Jr. had to say. And I completely agree with him. There's hardly anybody talking about him after all that he's done in the short period of time. So hopefully he gets a victory over Sullivan Barrera and his career goes in the direction that he hopes he goes, and he gets into the limelight and people get to talk more about him, and he gets to make some big fights because there's a lot of big fights out there that he could make. I think there's this Russian guy as well who's getting all Beterbiev. He's getting all the hype. He hasn't really done much, but he's rather getting more hype than Joe Smith Jr. That's weird. So there's a lot of fight he could make in this division. And then Stevenson, Andre Ward. I don't really know about Andre Ward, whether he's going to continue fighting or not. But there's a lot of big fights he could make. So hopefully the stars fall in line and he gets to make the big fights like he deserves. Because I think he deserves it. Alright, that'll be it for now. If you like my commentary, subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. I make commentaries like this every other day. Thank you for your time and catch you in the next video. Bye for now.